Hello? Yes, it's working. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here on a Friday morning, on a rainy Friday morning so early to join us for this session. I am really thrilled to welcome you to this session where we will showcase some successful projects that have been selected during the CIVIS seed funding calls. That is an initiative that has been running since 2024, and thanks to this call, we could select 51 projects in total, successful projects, and the research collaboration projects, and especially with a special focus with partnerships with our African members within CIVIS. And well, today, so we will showcase 4 successful projects from these 2 rounds, and with a focus on the sustainability of the project, because seed funding is really like a startup funding, and the idea is to see how we can turn this startup into a long-lasting partnership. And for this, we will have this session today. It will last a bit less than 90 minutes. First, we will have the 4 presentations, then a few rounds of questions to our speakers, and after, if there are questions from the audience, then we will open the floor. So the speakers we have today represent really the rich diversity of the different initiatives we could support through this call, from training young researchers to citizen science to establishment of transdisciplinary networks. And together we will analyze their successes, but also the sticking points that they could face, and to see what kind of key factors and levers they would need to ensure the long-term sustainability of the collaborations through CIVIS and through European university alliances in general. And well, myself as the head of the CIVIS research unit, I'm very happy and I feel really privileged to moderate this roundtable today. And I will present now the speakers who will be joining me for the morning, well, joining us for this morning. So first we have Ionela Băluță. She's a professor at the Faculty of Political Science here at the University of Bucharest, and she will present Brûlot. Brûlot started as a PhD gender studies school, and it's grown into wider research networks in gender studies. And it organized a lot of different initiatives that he will present afterwards. And among them, there was a BIP last week that you coordinated. And so she will present this initiative to us. Then we have Adriana Ștefănel. She's associate professor, head of the Department of Cultural Anthropology and Communication here at the University of Bucharest. And she will present the creation of the CIVIS research network that aims at building research collaboration on climate narratives and democratic resilience. Then I'm happy to have Delia Popescu. She is the head of the Department of Interdisciplinary Studies at the University of Bucharest too, and she will introduce us to an interdisciplinary and participatory research initiative that's called Through Citizens' Eyes, Watching Over Wetlands and Sharing Science. And last but not least, we have online Nolwenn Bühler. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here in person, but thank you very much for joining us online. Nolwenn is an anthropologist of science and technology, associate professor at the Institute of Social Sciences at the University of Lausanne. And she will take us from the launch through the establishment of the XP Lab, which is a collaborative transdisciplinary network to study trouble breathing in the new climatic regime. So I'm not going to keep the floor any longer, and I'm going to give the floor first to Ionela to introduce the Brûlot project.
Hello. Could you please put my PPT on the presentation? This is already... It's okay, I can start. Okay. So I will quickly present a project which is growing, and I think it's very important for fostering research networks within CIVIS consortium. And BRULO is an international Francophone doctoral school in gender studies, and the 8th edition took place in Bucharest last week, indeed. So I'm quite exhausted after this experience, but it was a great one because we had in Bucharest more than 45 PhD students and more than 30 professors from all over the world, from 3 continents and more than 10 countries. And the edition of Bucharest was a blended intensive program format, okay, combining with other foundings and networks, because it's really a project, as you will see, which aim to go, I don't know, behind CIVIS University, even if we are a CIVIS consortium, we really aim to build an international Francophone research network in gender studies. So the project started like 9 years ago from a collaboration between Lausanne and Brussels. And then since 2025, it has been organized by the CIVIS consortium formed by Lausanne, Brussels, and Aix-Marseille Université and University of Bucharest. Since the beginning, the project aimed to strengthen transdisciplinary and intercultural dialogues. So BRULO tried to involve African partners, colleagues from the Global South were invited to teach, and scholarships were offered each year to PhD students from those countries. And building upon CIVIS, BRULO aims to structurally involve the French-speaking partners of the network in the BRULO. So we contacted African universities, and it was the seed founding that helped us to consolidate our collaboration with Université Hassan II Casablanca and University Cheikh Anta Diop. We had 2 projects founded in 2024 and 2026, and we organized doctoral days, 2 and 3 in Casablanca and in Dakar. The main objectives of BRULO are to support the next generation of gender scholars, because we think that it's really important to build the future, and also to promote and connect Francophone gender studies research. And I want to highlight that BRULO is more than a doctoral school. It's really a transnational infrastructure for training, research, and academic cooperation in gender studies. And as we are at the 8th edition, we really see that every year we have more and more candidates, which is a challenge. But also every year we have great feedback from our and next one. Sorry, I was and next one. Yes. And first of all, the doctoral school has a great impact on students, because it's really organized with this main objective to answer their needs to train, and also to have trainings in career orientation, publishing, and networking. Next slide, please. It also has a great impact, I would say, on universities. Next, yes, because It consolidates Francophone network in gender studies and support our collaboration, and especially for universities where gender studies are not very well institutionalized. It really represents a great opportunity to consolidate and develop gender studies. Yeah, next slide. And for CIVIS, I would highlight that it has a great impact because it addresses major societal challenges like democracy, equality, and social justice. It promotes multilingualism and linguistic diversity in research, connects Western, Eastern European, and African communities, and encourages co-creation of knowledge through partnership with civil society actors. Next slide. What I think we have already proven is that we established a pedagogical model with demonstrated impact. We organized since 9 years annual training platform connecting doctoral students, junior and senior scholars. We developed strong partnership between European and African universities, and we create a unique Francophone space for advanced gender studies training and research. This is a photo, the final photo with participants in Bucharest edition. What are the current challenges? Brulot relies on project-based funding and yearly resource mobilization. So long-term planning, mobility, and institutional development remain difficult. We face this growing demand from doctoral students that exceeds available resources. Then there is a lack of research funding at the CIVIS level for research project, recurrent research project, you know, this weakness. And also, after the experience of organizing Brulot this year, I want to highlight and to discuss, and I think it's important to collaborate and find solutions together because I really was confronted to insufficient harmonization of administrative procedures. Each university still have its own, I don't know, documents, certificates, and so on and so forth. And really, I had to do the same document twice or even 3, 4 because of this lack of harmonization on the administrative level. Also, we confronted with lengthy processing times, which sometimes affect the organization of the events, but some administrative requirements. And what structural support could achieve, what we aim, is to secure annual organization and long-term sustainability, increase student mobility within CIVIS, develop joint supervision, mentoring, and doctoral training activities, strengthen the Brulot network through a stable teaching and research agenda, and position CIVIS as a leading European alliance in gender studies training in French. And the strategic ambition, we had the reunion of the scientific committee in Bucharest. You can see the photo of the team. We aim to transform Brulot from a successful recurring doctoral school into a permanent CIVIS flagship program for doctoral training, research cooperation, and knowledge exchange in gender studies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ionela, for this very interesting insights of the establishment of a, well, long-lasting network in the end, even though we saw some kind of challenges that we will talk a little bit further afterwards. Before, I would like to give the floor to you, Adriana, if you want to end.
Good morning. No. Yeah, thank you. It's good morning. Okay, it works. So I'm Adriana Ștefănel. I'm from the University of Bucharest, and today I would like to present climate crisis narratives, populism, and digital polarization, a CIVIS Seeding Fund project, this one. I would like to show not only the academic rationality beyond this project, but also how a small seed initiative help us build a network that I hope will last long after this project. Before talking about the project itself, I would like to spend some time on this slide because it captures what CIVIS is really about in my perspective. I have been involved in CIVIS for 6 years now, 6 out of Alliance 7 years. During that time, I took part in summer schools, mobility blending intensive program, and so on and so forth. One of my early experience was the first summer school in social science that was coordinated by the University of Tübingen. I was part of the organizing team and also a teacher there, and I've met Maria Romana there. We worked, and several years after, we coordinated together on thematic issue on a very influential journal in our field. This thematic issue was a CIVIS initiative in itself because University of Bucharest supported 5 publication fee for articles that was authored by CIVIS researchers. So we have another opportunity to meet and discuss ideas during this call. This thematic issue happened not only because anyone planned it in advance at the beginning, but because one opportunity creates another. And I could tell similar stories about all the names on the screen and about more other colleagues that I've met through this CIVIS journey. That's why I like this slide so much. The people highlighted in purple are the member of the seed group, our seed group, but the slide in itself tells about something larger than this group. Some of these colleagues within the CIVIS team are people I've met directly, through CIVIS activities. Others were introduced by people that I've previously met during CIVIS. The network grew gradually through collaboration, recommendation, and trust. So when I look at this image, I don't see a consortium that appeared because of funding call was launched, but 6 years of relationship, ideas, and opportunity that eventually make this project possible. Next slide, please. Just a little bit about the idea behind the project, because it's related to the academic fields that we are into, but not, I will not go into depth with this. The idea is that perhaps the word that we heard most when trying to describe contemporary society is crisis. We speak about climate crisis, economical crisis, political crisis, and so on and so forth. These crises are usually discussed separately, but in reality, they interact and reinforce one another. What interests us as communication scholar was not only the crises themselves, but what society makes sense of them. So this was the core idea behind the project. And we look at the climate change because it's one of the CIVIS most important research pillars. So we look at this through the lenses of communication studies, but considering the idea that CIVIS is supporting this type of research. The key assumption is that digital platforms not only present reality, but also reshape it and influence society because of that. So next slide, please. This is an idea that results from our meetings. We come from different backgrounds, different area of communication studies. Some of us were political analysts, some were more interested in platforms and how media shapes society, and others come with the climate change perspective, more intense, but we all thought of this program as something that considered democracy as we see it nowadays, and this is what we want to look further about. We want to understand democratic consequences of these narratives. So this is the idea that brought us, next slide, here. So we have 2 meetings, one in Salzburg for 2 days, one in Bucharest for 3 days. We were face-to-face and online because the Glasgow University, one of our partners couldn't make it in Salzburg because of the funding problems. One of them came to Bucharest, although. We worked together for 5 days, thinking of a common perspective, which was difficult because we come from different academic backgrounds, we have different perspective over the subject, but we have a framework now, which is very good. But what was more important than this is that we talk. We have 5 days in total, sharing experience, sharing information, not only about the research interest, but also about who we are as an academics within the CIVIS community, what we want to do further, what we want to create as a group. We shared a lot of good moments. I would like to emphasize the drinking a little bit, although I was advised against. I put this image, which is from the last day in Salzburg, to show that a lot of good things happened within these meetings outside the conference room. And it helped us to create a team. And this is something that was very striking when I received my, when the meeting was here in Bucharest. We stayed for 3 days. And at some point, we needed more. And there were 3 days, not only to talk, but go to lunch, go to dinner, spend time with each other, understanding what brought us there and what we should do further. So next slide. This is the concept that we created after the talks. So we have an output that we want to use in the future. I will present this idea at the university conference here. It will be an international conference in Bucharest next week, and I will present this framework concept of ours. And further, we want to develop a joint article. But further than this, and this is the last slide, our aim is more ambitious. Our aim is to create an European Climate Narrative Observatory. It's not something that will happen overnight, but nothing did. So the first step is the CIVIS seed that you see there, and after that, there are several paths. I created here like a very easy road from CIVIS to Jean Monnet and COS, but it will not be like this. I know, I'm pretty sure of that. But it will go through these stages at some point, and of course the goal is to have a big project like an Horizon, but this is not the main goal. Getting funded is not the goal. It's just something that will support us to create a good research network. So the main goal of this is to create a network. And this is something that this project helped to have, the first step, which is the hardest to make. So this is a long-term objective, of course. We don't expect it to be built overnight. Seats represent only the first, but the most important step. And what excites me about the idea is that it moves beyond a single-step project. This is something that I like very much. This seed found creates a space where collaboration was made possible, new researcher became involved, and research comparative can be developed. So this is the seed of something that we hope it will grow nicely. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. I don't know if I managed the time correctly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you for this presentation and for keeping the time. So as we're not really ahead of time, then I will give the floor directly to Delia for the next presentation.
Thank you very much, Julie. I will take over the such that. Okay. So it was so nice to listen to Adriana and Ionela about seed funding projects that are different than the ones I am involved in. And I should start by saying that the seed funding project that I'm presenting is the third one in which I am involved. This one is not led by me, by the University of Bucharest. It's led by the Sapienza University in Rome, by Professor Maria Letizia Constantini. The other two projects, but those who were more research-oriented, have been led by myself. So as you can see, being the third project and having a BIP as well together, and by the way, next week you'll be in Rome for the BIP, the face-to-face phase of the BIP, means that we do have succeeded to build a very strong network. That's why we are thinking, so the BIP this time will be offered for the third year. Therefore, we know each other and we have been working for so long, and we are thinking to expand our knowledge and to involve our partners in Africa. And there is a nice fact. Spain and Morocco have decided to build a bridge, a solid bridge, to connect Europe and Africa. And we are all the time saying that we are connecting the continents through science and through research. But this project, through citizens' eyes, watching over wetlands and sharing science, wants to bring the universities, the researchers, with the citizens, with local communities. The universities will be the ones that will provide the knowledge, the ones that will validate the data, the ones that will create models, will give the scientific insights, basically. And we are trying to convince the citizens. Of course, we have started with students because it's easier, but we have extended to pre-university students as well, and we are now in the process of trying to convince the citizens to get involved in this project in order to first to gather data from them, to monitor, to make the communities to monitor what's happening with the wastelands that are nearby, such that they will keep an eye how the wetlands transform and transform the citizens in real guardians of those wetlands. And basically we want to create these networks based on trust, based on expertise, based on the desire of getting involved and making our communities more sustainable. And as I've told you, we started with a strong alliance. The backbone of this consortium, it is of course based on CIVIS. And there are 5 European universities involved, as I have told you. The leader is Sapienza Università di Roma. But along with SUR, we have 4 more universities: University of Bucharest, National Capodistrian University of Athens, and I am very happy that my colleague Cristiana Mitopoulou is in the room today, because this week we have our final meeting on the other seed funding project. So University of Stockholm is involved as well, and Anne-Christine was here, but unfortunately she had to leave yesterday because her flight from today got canceled. And University of Glasgow as well. And we have 2 very close African partners. We have worked with them from the beginning. Universitas Andu de Casablanca, and hopefully my colleagues from Morocco will join us by the end of this session. And the same with my colleagues from University of Witwatersrand from south of Africa. So the story started like that. I've been involved in CIVIS since the beginning. I've been one of the University of Bucharest representative in Haban Council. And in Haban Council at one moment have been 4 chemists. Cristiana, Ella Linganiso from South Africa, and Mohamed Ezinef from Morocco, and myself. And we are thinking, okay, let's do something together. And we've done 2 seed fundings projects, and we are all partners in the third one as well. So we have a strong university alliance, as you can see, but sometimes even if we are so many, we still don't have all the knowledge, all the equipment, all the models. So we have involved a lot of partners from research institutes, Ministry of Research in Italy, local communities, policymakers, etc. And as Julie said at the beginning, we are hoping, creating this very strong alliance, to be able to continue this project and to establish a platform that I will talk about. So basically, after you write a proposal and you get approved, starts the real work. So we have, and for a seed funding, the time frame is not that generous. It's quite tight. So basically, we've been announced in November, and by the end of this month, we have to finish all the activities, and by the end of next month, we have to file the final report. So we like to say that this project is a pilot one. It's the one that will make us able to apply for funding in order to continue this project. And even if it was a short project, we had very strong and very, quite many points that we wanted to achieve. So we wanted to have a project website such that everyone will know, and I will give you the link at the end of my presentation. We wanted to create a platform in order to, that can be used by the citizens in order to report their findings, their observations of the wetlands. And we didn't create the platform, but we've been able to have our project on a digital platform that I will talk about this. Then we had 2 face-to-face meetings, one in January in Rome, where we have established all the timelines and the guidelines, and we started having educational workshop online at that time. And we had two very informative study visits. And we had, in May, another face-to-face meeting in Johannesburg, and there we had again some study visits. We offered an educational workshop, and we had a school competition as well. So in order to have this school competition, we had to create some educational materials. And we still are in the process of working on a scientific brochure, or maybe even an article. So we had four main ideas that are not static, so they will progress. So basically, we have starting with this desire of involving the citizens in the monitoring of the status of wetlands. So we call it the citizens as environmental observers. But that was at the beginning. We wanted them to get used with using the platform, and you can see, I've told you, we haven't created the platform. We've been hosted on LifeWatch Citizen Science Italy, and that's the link for our platform, and there you will find our project as well. And we have a short survey that anyone can fill in, even if they don't have a scientific background. And moreover, they can upload photos, such that we can see the status of the wetland. We are in the process of collecting these answers to the survey. That will be an ongoing collection, so the platform will be open, and we will continue to gather the information. But at the end of June, we have established that we will analyze what we are getting for the final report, such that we will be able to draw some suggestions, some conclusions, and some future points of discussion. And from the contributors, from the observers phase, we want the citizens to go to the real environmental monitoring. So every person can fill the survey, let's say every season, and let us know what's happening with that particular wetland. And of course, for now, the time frame being so narrow, we disseminate the platform only in our countries, but we will try to involve as many citizens across Europe and Africa, at least. Because we want to have, and we want to strengthen this community engagement. We want to connect, and I am a true believer that education for the sake of education means nothing for no one. We need to educate the young generation, we need to educate ourselves, we need to educate the elder generation as well, such that they can face the continuous transformations that our planet is getting through. And for that, of course, we have to be connected to these global challenges and the transformations that are taking place. And then we have to develop the instruments that will make us reach the target people And we need to learn to speak on their language. We need to make them understand what we are saying. So there is that particular saying that the scientists, the researchers should leave the ivory tower. Well, now is the time to do that and go into the community, because we need to share the responsibility of the environmental protection. And in the meantime, we plan to still do scientific research, of course, because we need, first of all, we need to know exactly the situation. By the way, for a very long time, there was this misunderstanding that the wetlands are no-use lands, that we have to get rid of them, that we have to pave them, that we have to build something useful on these lands. And unfortunately, starting with the 18th century, we've done that. Therefore, more than 80% of the wetlands on Earth are gone. So basically, right now, and I'm not talking about the oceans, and I'm talking only about the wetlands. Okay. So right now, on Earth, there are less than 10% wetlands, and they are responsible for more than 40% in biodiversity on the Earth. So we need to take good care of these wetlands in order to preserve the biodiversity. That's why it's imperious necessary to preserve the scientific research and to come up with recommendation for conservation and restoration of these wetlands. And we cannot do that without sustainable innovations. Sometimes even us as researchers like to think about ourselves that we are very innovative. It might not be the case, and the innovation can come from everywhere. So we have to start listening to the others. And these are the materials that we have created that I was telling you. This is the educational materials, and the first one is the announcement of the contest. For this edition, we had only schools from Italy and South Africa involved. And there were quite a lot. The winners were Biodiversità 26 and Cap Science Club 3. So this was the announcement for the competition. And these are the things that we managed to create, to develop in this project. The project website, the digital platform where you can find our project and you can contribute to taking the survey, two study visits in Italy. We've seen Orbetello Lagoon, and we've seen some biogas plant in Anzio. One study visit in Johannesburg for the wetlands, one in Soweto. We've done online educational workshop in Italy, in Rome, one face-to-face in Johannesburg. And if you go to the web page, you can find the educational materials and some information about school competition. And as well, on the project page, you can find some pictures. And the scientific brochure is in preparation, and we will finish it for sure by the end of this project. And this is our community that we have created through this seed funding project. So we have 5 European countries, 2 African partners. We are open to have everyone involved, and hopefully we will be able to convince people that we do need to take good care of the wetlands for what they are representing for our environment. So thank you all for your attention.
Thank you to you. Thank you very much. And so I suggest that we go for the last presentation with Nolwenn Buller, who is online. And then after, we will have a few rounds of questions. And
shall I share my slides? Do you have them?
You can share your screen in order for everyone to see the presentation. If you
it seems that I cannot share. Okay, this now I can. So do you see my screen?
yes.
Great. So now you see the full screen, or
Yes.
do you see the presentator mode?
No, we see the full screen.
Full screen. Okay, good. So yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity actually to join this discussion, and it was great to listen to the other speakers and discover this very inspiring project. So today I would like to present another one, which was entitled the Explore Lab, the collaborative transdisciplinary network to study travel tourism in the new Cayman regime. So this project was funded within the code for civic research activities and African European cooperation. And I became interested in this funding opportunity because I was working on environmental health relation, especially in regard to issues of pollution, toxicity, and exposure. In another previous project, I conducted an ethnography of a population cohort within human biomonitoring and aiming to advance exposonic research. I also had a smaller project on pesticides and farmers. And I was at the stage of my career where I wanted to develop a bigger project to explore a specific form of exposure that engaged relation to a firm. Data with a focus on health inequalities. And the other partner was Rebecca Natanda from Makerere University in Uganda. She's a senior pediatrician and researcher working at the Makerere Lung Institute, which is an innovative respiratory health center which integrates both clinical activities, disease prevention, clinical care, but also which does a lot of research. So the presentation today reflects more my own experiences, my own experience of the project. So let me bring you to Kampala. So this might be seen as a beautiful sunset in the sky of Kampala in Uganda, yet this is also an air charged with chemicals and dust. Beyond the quiet appearance of this view, Kampala witnesses regularly warming pollution peaks, and last summer reached the second worst air quality measure among major cities internationally. So this picture raises also a set of fundamental questions about what is good and bad air, for whom, where, and how do we get to know what is good and bad air, and how do we respond, and with which effect. So, since the 1960s, and in response to the major threat of air pollution for both health and climate, actions have been implemented all over the world to sustain air that is clean and healthy. So, turning the monitoring of air quality into a mandatory requirement for many cities all over the globe. United Nations adopted also a resolution declaring access to clean, healthy, and sustainable environment a universal human right, including the right to breathe clean air. However, and despite these global efforts to tackle the problem of air pollution, 99% of the world population is exposed to air exceeding the World Health Organization threshold, with important health consequences, not only for the respiratory system, but across all organic systems, reproductive one, cardiovascular, endocrine, or immunity. One observed also an unequal distribution of bad air connected to perduring inequalities, and big cities of the global south are especially affected, shedding light on north-south disparities. For example, if we go back to Kampala, while Uganda's ecosystems are currently destroyed to build a big pipeline that oil is extracted for the benefit of the north, the air of Kampala is heavily polluted by the aging cars and vehicles that are imported from the north to the south and considered not good enough anymore for European countries. So the way we think about air pollution and tackle it is also configured in the changing climate of the Anthropocene. So it's not possible today to think of air pollution without also thinking of air that is eating, that is charged with the residues of wildfires, of our lakes and soils also breathe, or how the breathing of humans engages the breathing of the planet as well. So these were some preliminary observations, but then for the project we wanted to tackle, or I wanted at the beginning to tackle some friction that I could observe. First, this persistent friction between knowing and doing, or the kind of persistent science policy experience gap. There are a lot of top-down initiatives. For example, I was interested in the Breathe Life network, which is a global health and climate global initiative targeting especially a specific kind of pollutant, short lifetime pollutants, and aiming to create a network of cities and supporting them in their efforts to tackle this category of pollutant. And Kampala is part of this network, and during my stay there, when I talked of this initiative to Kampala actors, they were not even aware of this global initiative. So it's just to give you an example of the kind of big gap that there are that persist between this global health program and what is going on the ground. Also, there is this persisting gap between environment and health. While both are deeply connected, their science and policies tend to be siloed, and there is a difficulty to consider human and animal health together, as intervention focused either on climate change, on the environment, the preservation of the ecosystem, or on human health. And there are also multiple meanings of what good and bad air might mean for the scientists, at the policy level, the policymaker, and the daily life experiences. So that was the kind of question we started with this observation that we need to reconceptualize health-environment relation, and question about how to take care of air and how to take care of human bodies at the same time. So this issue is complex. There was the need to create what we called an expert lab, which that we define as a transdisciplinary working group of stakeholders, who can come from various domains, academic or civil society association or state authorities, like to bridge this gap and address this kind of friction. So the CIVIS goal was perfect for this and to establish the basis of a long-term research, collaboration, and to create actually this expert lab. For the project, we planned two sets of activities. First, to do some exploratory research, enabling the team to map the actors and intervention for stakeholders from Uganda, Switzerland, and Scotland to change perspective on this complex relation and discuss together and brainstorm together about how to advance. So what we did, we organized a one-week research stay in Kampala in January 2025. There were different kind of activities during this week, but first the workshop united stakeholders, mostly from the Ugandan and Kampala network. So these reunited stakeholders from the National Environment Management Authority, the Kampala City Authority, the Ministry of Roads and Transport, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, Ministry of Health, many healthcare practitioners, and also NGO and civil society representative association. We also organized field visits at an Hercule, the Hercule Lab, which is a lab which builds these local sensors that are distributed all over the city. In the picture below, you can see the 3D printer that they use to create these local sensors. But we also connected and visited the GeoHealth Hub research team, which really is an expert research center on this type of issue. And we also visited the health community center and also the city authorities of Kampala to understand better what are their challenges in addressing this problem. And we also had, of course, internal meeting with Craig and Rebecca within the research team to brainstorm about how to advance together and what actually we wanted to do. So, what this project brought, I think it helped us to improve our empirical understanding of the local challenges and the needs also in terms of research. For example, for me, for my social science presentation, what I learned from the stakeholder group workshop was that a lot of interventions focus on education, with this idea that we need to educate people and raise awareness about air pollution. But for me, the challenge is how to move away from this deficit model and take the knowledge and living condition of people also seriously, take them as active participants in research or in initiative, in the development of initiative, and not only on people that we need to educate, because I think they know often better that that's what it means to live in this polluted air. Also, in the discussion, there was a lot of, also in the field visits, there is a lot of effort put into producing data, but how these data are used by citizens, but also in research or by the municipality authorities, this remains an important gap. Also, there was a lot of discussion about where the air quality sensors are positioned, because often they put them in places which are safe. They are not afraid of the sensor to be destroyed by people or harm. And it was also a question about our air pollution or air quality is reflected or represented to these measures. And there was a lot of concern about how to engage people more exposed, more vulnerable. For example, on the picture you can see the Boda drivers. You don't have public transport in Kampala. There's no bus or train network that you can use. It's only cars and these small motorcycles. And the driver of motorcycles is like like the main way of circulating in the city, which is very like a mecca, like very big city, and they are very exposed because of the bad quality of the vehicles themselves and the combustibles that they use. But it's not only a matter of education, like they are very exposed, but it's also the only way they can live their life, make earn a salary. So there was discussion about how to engage also with this kind of group. And I think at the local level also the project helped to reinforce the network, helped to de-silo a little bit the discussion, and we published, we wrote a report summarizing our learnings. Then one of the questions was how the project could work as a springboard or have a springboard effect. So on my personal side, I submitted 2 starting points. So it helped me to include Kampala as one of the partners and develop a bigger project, which was a career project and not an interdisciplinary project. So perhaps this was already a kind of tension. So the project was selected for the 2 interviews. So it means it was highly ranked, but unfortunately didn't succeed in being funded. But at least, it's not lost, and I have good hope that it will be funded in the end. So it had to be that. Bit of scientific expertise also. I think after the workshop, we all the workshop helped us all in our local environment to build expertise and reinforce our visibility in this domain, and also create other local initiatives that was related to the topic. And finally, I think also we identified our shared research interest, and what emerged was the motivation to develop a citizen science project together. And so then I think one of the questions was about the challenges. So we had, at the beginning, there was a lot of enthusiasm and willingness to build something together. We wanted to submit a collective project, but soon we were slowed down by the difficulties in finding intermediary, interdisciplinary, international funding schemes, and because we had the kind of funding that matched what we wanted to do, like big funding from the European like Horizon global funding, and we were still a very small network, so there's a lot of intermediary steps that we don't always exactly know how to fund and support. There was also a discussion about collective publication, but then difficult to find interdisciplinary journals, and I think one of the tension also is once everybody was back home, for example, if we want to build citizen science projects and work with communities, it's a work that is very locally grounded, and sometimes it conflicts also a little bit with the tension, with the willingness to build international network. I think it's very inspiring what we do with wetlands, like also, creating materials or dispositives that can be used in various locations. So I think so far it's not that we have it's just that it's not easy to know how to solve this kind of tension. And also we had a problem with collaboration with other universities that could not be included or funded by the CIVIS actors. So I think one of the, perhaps this is more a roundtable question, or I think in the discussion there was what could be done to help us support, but I can address that later. Or shall I? Yeah. So, shall I finish now with this slide or later?
You can, because that was the question I wanted to ask you afterwards, to see what kind of, when you express the challenges you encounter and the levers that the call could, help you to establish institutionalizing efforts. So, but yes, please, I would like to hear your suggestion and kind of further help that we could provide as CIVIS. So yes, we can go on and then ask the questions to you.
Okay. Okay, good, thank you. Yeah, I think it was a very good question, what we can do institutionally to help us tackle and address and overcome these challenges. So one of the limits we encounter with CIVIS is that it's a great way to organize small events, and as it was shown with this other project, like to have an opportunity and then another one and build over time something bigger. For us at the beginning, the fact that it's also small funding, doesn't fund for research activities, doesn't fund for salaries. Like for us, it was a kind of, how to say, and perhaps institutionally for the city science to alternate between small funding, seed money, and sometimes bigger call, more selective perhaps, but also enabling researchers to build, to cover salaries or research activities. I think that this is something that would help. Also, we had the following CIVIS call, and there is a one open now. I think they were not dedicated for European African collaboration. And in my university at UNIL, it was this one shot for European African collaboration. But then it's like there's no other support for this to sustain this collaboration in a context where there are important financial asymmetries between European universities and Ugandan one, for example. I think something that would help us also is to find these adequate funding schemes for participatory research, because we wanted, what emerged from the workshop is the importance and the need to develop a citizen science initiative regarding air quality, involving people who are more exposed, but citizen science, at least in Switzerland, is not that easily funded by the regular mainstream funding foundation. And also we thought that it would be interesting to create flexible arrangement for networking with non-Swiss universities, or find ways of including them when we build this initiative. So these are some thoughts, but thank you for your attention, and I'm happy to hear what others think about that.
Thank you very much for the very interesting presentation and this insight and really suggestion to help us provide the help necessary. So we make sure that these projects don't just last for like one call, one shot, and that we can really establish long-term collaborations within the Alliance's partners. So thank you for your insight. And I have a few questions that I would like to ask as well the other speakers after your presentation. So maybe I can start with Ionela, as a bit like the Expert Lab project was a project that was launched already in 2024 in the first round of calls for proposals, and the Brulo Network 2 actually was selected in both rounds of the seed funding call. So it's a long established initiatives, and it's linked with other initiatives as well in CIVIS, like doctoral schools, BIBs, etc. And I would like to have your view on in which ways being part of a European University Alliance like CIVIS was an asset in the development and in the institutionalization of such a network.
Yes, thank you. Of course, it was an important asset because the enlargement and consolidation of European and European African networks was really made possible by CIVIS, but I also want to underline that from the beginning between Brussels and Lausanne, the project built on strong interpersonal collaborations. And as Adriana highlighted, I think human networks, human relations are essentially in the really building sustainable and long-term collaborations and projects. And also, for instance, I collaborated with David Paternotte since 2017. So, of course, CIVIS was and it is a great opportunity because it offers us a more structured and institutionalized context to continue our existing collaborations. And the two seed funding projects were very important because it really encouraged us and allowed us to go into the African partner universities, and it was a great opportunity to better understand the local ecosystem in gender studies, research and studies, and also to meet with other colleagues. Of course, we had one or two contacts in each university, but being there, knowing them, also meeting doctorants, PhD students was very important, and CIVIS had an important contribution to this. So within CIVIS, of course, there is easier to organize mobilities and I don't know, teaching mobilities as well as some doctoral stage, research stages for doctorants. But as Nolin and Adriana highlighted, our needs really are to see for more structural and permanent financial support in order to have, you know, this a little bit of stability. Of course, we will, because we are active anyway, we collaborated before CIVIS, now we have one more reason to do it. But it is one thing to know that, yes, you have a structural budget, annual permanent budget for the consortium, and then we manage to identify new research projects or possibility for collaborations. And this is quite different to put all our efforts to find this, I don't know, about minimum 20,000 euro for each Brillo editions. So yeah, those are other needs to think together ways to better and structurally institutionalized our consortium, which worked for in the case of Brillo, for 9 years. So we already proved our engagement and intention to consolidate and to go further. Thank you.
Thank you to you. Well, I see that we're a little bit late, but we started late too, so if you don't mind, we can stay for 5 more minutes maybe. Yes, it's okay. So, because I would like to ask a few questions as well to Adriana and Delia who are here. So, well, for you as well, Adriana, like what you told us is that bilateral collaborations already existed before the seed funding call, but through applying to this call, the idea was really to establish a long-term, structured, transnational and interdisciplinary network and platform. So how would you say that CIVIS was any help in support this process, and what other additional measures we could take?
Oh,
Well, it definitely, this project wouldn't have been possible now without CIVIS. It was a push, first of all. There was a call. We all worked together previously, but the call brought us together. So if not for the call, maybe we would have started, but next year, 2 years after. So the call was very important, and it brings us together. But what Nolan said, and Ionela as well, and Delia at some point also mentioned, is the need for bridging. So nowadays, you said you have 51 projects in this call. I think half of them need support for the further stages. So maybe as we develop, also CIVIS will develop some projects, like bridge projects, to sustain the network as they are growing. I'm not a biologist, but I've been in a Science Us project with colleagues from the biology department, and I learned working with them that we need several stages in order to have fruits of the project. So I think that CIVIS helped us a lot, but without watering the plants that appears, they will vanish. So CIVIS was the main reason that this rationality beyond academic that was in this project, but we need further, and this is my, okay, and also to support, I don't know what happens.
Battery problem.
Ne ajutați un pic cu bateria. It's perfect. Something that was, actually I was hoping for a question that something like what was the main problem that we encounter, but I found the answer hearing my colleagues today. The foundings were good, but because we didn't have money for organizing team, because we didn't have money to catering and so on and so forth, and being a handful of people is not an easy task. Being a handful of people meaning that we stay in a room for 2 days working, it's difficult without support. So the local team also need to have some support. We had from the university, but it's not enough on the long run. So I think that maybe in the next stages of this type of projects, some local team support will be needed in terms of, I don't know, little stuff, but very important one in order to develop a good network. So this is my point of view regarding what you ask and more. Thank you.
Thank you to you. Thank you very much. And now I would like to ask you a question, Delia, but more linked to the specificity of your project that is involving local communities and citizens. And I would like to have your view on the difficulties maybe that it is to include citizens in research projects and in academia. So, yes.
Yes, thank you. And indeed, working with people outside of the academia can be challenging, and can be challenging from multiple points of view. From the scientific point of view, because you need to lower the explanations at their level of understanding. You need to convince them to get involved, which is not easy. No one wants to take any task for just because we don't have this education of being good citizens very developed, in fact. So we need to work on this. And I can add to what my colleague said, especially for this type of activities, this type of project that the project that go outside of the university, that we need to have those study visits in order to establish the connection. Will be good if the future projects will include a budget for this, because we need transportation, and we had to take care of ourselves about these things. So, and the fact that we don't control the budget, basically. We have an initial budget, and we have the approval, and in general the approval is only for the mobilities and for the day-to-day activities. So maybe we should, I'm not saying about increasing the budget, but maybe separating the budget in two parts, in having parts for mobilities, but having a part for organizing the activities. And sometimes not even the leader of the project knows exactly what will be the best activities in order to make the project a success. So a little bit of flexibility in this area will be good in terms of saying what is eligible, and we will manage to get on that particular specificities. So yeah, we had to be creative in order to involve the people. We used our own connections, even to contact the schools, because that's the beginning. But as time goes by and people will learn about our project and they will be familiar with them, I think that they will get involved and we will have a good response. So I'm optimistic. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so we are kind of late, so I'm not sure we have time for questions from the room, but I don't know, one, maybe there's one? No? Okay. Yeah, the coffee break. Anyway, there will be a coffee break, so you can ask all the questions you want with our project participants and coordinators. And I would like just to end up with really, really small conclusions, but from what I see is that really the benefits and the plus value from CIVIS is that it allows to participate in different initiatives and to collaborate with the same people and to give the opportunity to grow the different networks from one initiative to another one. It leads to one from another one, so that's a good thing that I heard from your presentations today. But now, as you said, so we planted the seeds for collaborations, and now we need to watch them and to allow them to grow and to support them in growing and scaling up. So maybe that would be our main challenge for the next steps, if that can be the broad conclusion maybe of everything you said. But thank you very much. It was really interesting to see really concrete results in research of what CIVIS can enable us to provide. So thank you a lot, and thank you as well, Nolwenn, for staying with us online. And thank you very much.